All right, here we go. Finally loaded. Okay, so just to start, I was gonna go over like a presentation of different paintings that I had put together from like famous artists that are great examples of paintings that like emphasize fabric and clothing and personality through that. And I have one in here that was like apparently like a huge moment in fashion. So it'll be fun to look through all these. Oh yeah, and that's just a recap of what the project is about. And so this first one is one by Claude Monet, and it was a painting of the woman that later became his wife. And I wish I could zoom in, but the detail down here in that striped fabric is just so beautiful. And so I thought it was a great one to include. And you can just see so much personality through the style of the clothing that she's wearing and just how well it shows her personal taste as a woman in this time. And then here, of course, Degas has all of his super famous hat paintings, and I think this one is probably pastel, but I think it's called like the Milliners. Is that the correct word? I think so.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can just, imagine
it's really
all of
cute.
these hats, like, going to future places and the kind of people that would buy them and wear them. Yeah.
And her dress is really good. Like the sleeve and the skirt, right?
Yeah, the fabric in the dress as well. He's gotten in a lot of like subtle gradations and like the different colors, especially right here. So, yeah.
And also the direction that the cloth flows is something that's obviously important. You know, it's looking at the sort of rolling wave type shape in the sleeve, and then how it falls in the drape part of the dress.
And this next one is a painting by Kathryn Murphy. I adore Kathryn Murphy. She came and talked in my drawing class about her work, but she is somebody that works from life. So this painting is not from a photograph, so you can't really call it like photorealist, but it looks so incredibly real.
Does not look like a painting.
No, it doesn't.
Wow.
But you can tell in a really cool way too that it's not exactly a photograph either. It has like other dimensions and like subtle contrast that photographs can't capture.
Right.
But somehow she's able to like capture that through just her eye.
Wow.
And one of the things that stood out to me a lot, from her presentation is that she said that when she's painting, everything is just completely abstract for her. So that's an important thing to remember as we go into the painting, the drapery. Yeah. And then I included some work from Yvette Brown, who is one of the Art with Elders instructors. And I had the wonderful opportunity, was it this week? Yeah, earlier this week, to go into her class in person at the Carlisle. And so I got to talk to her about her work, which is great. So she used to be a fashion designer, actually, which was so fun for me to talk to her about that. So she said that in her painting, she's interested in the like relationship that we have with clothing, because it's something we wear every day. Like you pick it to say something about yourself for all these different reasons. And she wanted like the clothing in her paintings to have a life of its own, which you can very much see in these works. So I love the denim in this one.
That's really nice job. Yeah.
And really she kind of accentuates those folds there. You can see it looks realistic, but again, it's not like a photograph. She's accentuated it as with the painterly style, because you can feel the love that she feels for the subject, you know, just a resonance with what she's working with there.
And then here's a second one from her. The fabric over here is amazing.
Wow, that's really cool.
The chiffon silk like.
So that's a mirror image on the other side. What she's done is she's created a mirror image on the other side.
It's not really a mirror image, it's a triptych.
Oh, really?
Yeah, her head is like over here and then the legs go this way. Right. I'm wondering if this is self-portrait because it looks vaguely like her, the face in there.
Some of those portraits or these clothing pieces do have names of people. So potentially it does
Oh,
represent a
really?
person. Yeah, if you, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, check her website
That
and
is
see.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was amazing how perfectly it fit in with the project that I was
Yeah, that was
working
so
on,
synchronicity. We were sending Kathryn out
Yeah.
to work with Yvette, and Yvette happens to have an in-person class. You know, we're transitioning out of COVID. And so we sent Kathryn to meet Yvette, and simultaneously I said, you won't believe what Yvette's work looks like, because based, you know, it's the same as what your project is. It was so funny.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's great. And then here, this is a little bit different. This is just a photograph of these exhibitions that are called red dress exhibitions. And I included this because I wrote a paper about them during school. And it's this artist, Jamie Black, who is raising awareness for murdered and missing Indigenous women. And so to do that, she hangs like a whole bunch of red dresses all around these outdoor locations. And basically they're supposed to signify like each woman that has gone missing or been killed.
Wow,
yeah, and so she says that she's trying to like evoke presence through an absence.
That's quite a statement. That's really great.
Yeah. And then here, of course, we have Frida Kahlo. I don't know much about this particular work, but I thought the way that she gets these very characteristic dresses in here is really cool.
And she's very much about what's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Frida's very much about the clothing that sort of emanated from the culture that she came up in, you know, really living into that, not letting the culture die out and letting those beautiful types of handmade clothing, you know, live on in her, even though as modern fashions were changing to be more like what we see now. And then in this case, she doesn't do that at all. Obviously, she's in men's clothing, which she also kind of played with the gender differences and stereotypes and her own role there. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This one I found particularly interesting because it's just a good example of showing how like the clothes that you wear say something about what you want other people to see about yourself, and just how you're feeling in that particular moment or whatever, whether it has to do with gender identity or anything. So yeah. And then here is a painting by for sure, by Renee Magritte.
John will like that.
His surrealism, hanging in the closet.
The breast in the closet.
John's our,
what?
John's our resident Renee Magritte expert and surrealist expert. So hopefully that is fun for you, John. Beautiful colors on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a second Magritte in here too. Yeah, I love this painting. Just all like the different folds in there and the way like it's just so eerie to see like the dresses like standing like they're real people, but then there's nothing inside of them.
Wow.
I think it's just so great. John, do you have anything to add about the Magrittes?
No, he just didn't put bowler hats on top of them. That's all.
Yeah, surprising for him. Let's see. Okay. And then here's a dolly painting that I just included because just the fabric in here is just unbelievable. It's so cool. All the different like very subtle little shifts he's gotten in there. Yeah.
It's taken a long time.
Wow.
Yes. Although, yeah, it'd be interesting to know how long and again how large some of these pieces are. I'm still reeling from being surprised to find out one of those dolly paintings was quite small when I thought it was much larger. But
you definitely are very small.
You definitely need to put the time in, you know.
You can almost touch the taffeta in that, huh? He did a good job on that.
Yeah, it looks fluffy, kind of like those dresses do.
I was just imagining having somebody, as the artist, having somebody come in to sit for a portrait and they show up in that. Like, oh God.
Yeah, hey, can you do a nude model today?
Time for abstract.
I think this is his wife, Gala. Is that right, Kathryn? Do you know?
You know, I'm not sure. I don't know
I'm
much
pretty sure.
about him either, but
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I just
Yeah,
thought it was
that was
such
the
a
love
beautiful
of his
portrait.
life gala, and I bet that's her.
Yeah, I love the detail in the necklace too is amazing, and then with like the flowers and how I love how the flowers like echo all of that, like all the folds in the fabric too.
Wow.
And the
that's
background
always
is
great.
really nothing but a device to show off the foreground, to show off the subject. Like the background is
Yeah.
almost black, and then it has that little bit of a halo-y around her head where it sort of, you know, emanates some brightness, but she just emerges there with little else of interest in the background, just sets her off.
The flowers are a nice touch at the bottom.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
foreground.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I really like that one.
And then next we have these shoes by Van Gogh, which I've done many like copies of throughout my life. I have a bunch of paintings of like my own boots and stuff just because I thought that these are so great because of just the character that he's shown just like through these pair of boots. Like you can see that they've had just like this long life of like bringing somebody all these different places and getting all worn out and old. Yeah.
And his kind of rustic style, you know, sometimes clothes are functional or, you know, shows the person's sort of lifestyle, you know, whether it's a fancy taffeted gown or it's like a pair of rugged boots, you know, different styles, so completely different about the lifestyle.
I have to leave the room for a minute. I've got an emergency downstairs. I'll be right back.
Okay. Emergency, yikes. Okay, take care. We'll see you in a minute.
All right, and then this is the one that apparently was like this huge moment in the history of fashion, and it's by John Singer Sargent. And the portrait was originally called Madame X because it was so scandalous of a portrait that like this high class woman couldn't have her name associated with it, and it all has to do with like this shoulder strap falling off of her shoulder, and there was like so much commotion about it that he actually repainted it. This is the old version of it, so it's probably why the photo quality isn't very good, but if you go see it now, the shoulder strap is up here. So.
Oh, good Lord.
Crazy. Yeah.
How about the cleavage? I'm
surprised
if the cleavage did. I mean, I remember seeing women of that era wearing dresses with the lower cleavage, but yet why is that not like provocative? It's the, you know, obviously the falling off of the strap, but anyway, it's just funny, these sort of seemingly little bit weird, you know, things that set people off, but you know, just context of the times, how the cultural views change over time, you know, what's appropriate, what isn't, what's what, and how daring and bold people get as time goes on, you know, how it is now.
Yeah.
But even so, at the time of this, now she's a well-to-do woman, so she has a status and a reputation and an expectation. But meanwhile, artists over time have done nude pictures of women all day long. So why is that not scandalous? But this is. It's because of her status in society, I suppose, you know.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the best portrait artist of the Americans in Paris during this time.
Right.
They went to Paris to learn how to paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love just the gesture of how she's standing in this one too, and the way that the fabric is like folding as she like turns and grabs it. So it's just a great paint. And then here we have a Gustav Klimt painting, and this one is just so different, and that's why I included it in here. It's because he's come up with all this like abstract things and all these crazy colors and shapes to represent all of the clothing that she's wearing, the dress, and it looks like she's got like a cape kind of thing going on too.
And then she's so real looking, you know, I mean, it's a little stylized, but relative to the rest, and with her hands and her body and her face, totally pops out from all of the abstraction. It's interesting, the style.
And then here's an Alice Neal, because I want to put in a more contemporary example. And she's a painter that is a New York-based painter, and she paints all these very like these people that are full of character in New York, just modern New Yorkers. And in this one, you have the guy in his underwear, and then the guy sitting here in the suit. Yeah, I just think it's a great scene with all the
Red
colors
socks.
too. And then this painting I actually discovered while I was like looking through paintings for the slideshow. I'd never seen it before. I was just blown away by how beautiful this is. The title of it too is really great. It's called Symphony in White. It's just the perfect title for this painting because all of the crazy different small like changes in the white here, and
Yeah.
the fact that the background is also white, but it's just so beautiful. I honestly have no words for this one. So.
And then that crazy rug, which again, you know,
Yeah.
in cultural context, people did have, you know, animal rugs more likely than you would have it now, but yet still it's kind of shocking when you have the woman that kind of, it's like it's symbolic, you know, some sort of innocence, and the wolf or something, you know, it's quite a contrast for me anyway.
Yeah, imagine somebody having one of those rugs now. That'd be pretty crazy.
Oh God.
Yikes. Yeah.
All right, and then here is a Vuillard painting, and just the patterns that he has in this one is crazy. He's got a lot like this, but I think that's just another very unique approach to dealing with different fabrics and textures.
Well, I have not seen that before. It looks kind of collagey almost. It's interesting.
It does, yeah.
I think Shirley would find that appealing, maybe because she likes, you know, and many of us that do the dots,
so
you know, yeah.
Yeah, and then here's a print by Mary Cassatt. She was very into like Japanese prints, and you can see that influence in this one. But I just thought this one was perfect because you have the tailoring being done, and then you can see the reflection of the dress in the mirror as well. And it's all about just the dresses and the stripes. And then here's another one by her. All of her paintings were of like different women with their children and everything. And in this one, you can see really clearly how the clothing plays into like her femininity and everything, and her representation of that. Yeah, along with her knitting as well.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, I think her face in this one is really beautiful too because of how soft it is, and then in contrast with like the more sketchy dress and the harsher lines and all that.
Right.
Yeah.